Greetings, Masters. I would like to preface this video by stating that these are my opinions and my opinions alone. I'm not trying to bandwagon on any subreddits, and to be honest, I hardly visit the Reddit unless someone links me to a good thread. I'm not an entitled free-to-play player. I spend large amounts of money supporting a game and a franchise that I love. I come from an extensive business background, both owning and running successful businesses. I have been playing gacha games for a very, very long time, and I have experience across multiple games and platforms. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, you will know that I am very critical of Aniplex, Delightworks, and the NA team in general. However, I do praise them when they deserve it. I do feel that a lot of people cannot see the good through the bad because, well, when it comes to customer service and transparency, there's a lot of bad. So, where do we start? Well, I'm sure that some of you are aware of my gripes from my previous video a while back, but I would like to put that behind me and start over fresh and discuss some newer information. At Anime Weekend Atlanta, around the end of September, Albert hosted 2 panels. The first panel was a localization panel that went over the typical localization items, what he does, who he is, and then he took a few questions. During this panel, it was teased that we would be losing our Clairvoyance EX, which is no surprise to anyone who follows me or the internet at this point because this has been a running joke and meme. He did indicate that since most people more or less know the schedule, they would not really announce things at panels, though I'm not sure how likely that is, as the timing of conventions and possible announcements still seems to pair up. It is nice that they at least realize that holding these things back to announce them at a convention to a room full of maybe a few hundred people at most was a waste of hype. One of the big things that I really like about how Azure Lane is currently handling events is that they toss out teasers well ahead of time, over the course of a few weeks. Now, something that Fate Grand Order can learn from them is that even though most or all of the information is already known about the events, the hype is not diminished by any means. If anything, you have more people hyped because now they can look into servants, strats, rewards, and info about the upcoming events. This also can bring new players in as well. Additionally, as a content creator, this makes my life a little bit easier. If you let me know what is coming, I can do research and put together a very well thought out video instead of a rushed video to be the first to the table with the new hot take. Also, in before, well, Shogun, this is how it is in JP, which I also think is a bad move. You don't generate hype for your game with silence. Look at our 1-year anniversary. Had they just hyped this up over the course of a few weeks, given us a July 4th banner, it would have went over much better than the radio silence for an announcement at AX, which led to a huge disappointment. Which, speaking of our anniversary, if you know that everyone has Clairvoyance EX, why would you try to hype up 10 Saint Quartz when everybody was expecting 30 Saint Quartz? And this is where I lost everyone. They clicked on the thumbs down and ran off to Facebook to call me an entitled NA cuck. Still, Albert, Delightworks, please realize that the North American market is different. I know that you don't have the magical give everyone X amount of Saint Quartz, and I understand that you need a reason to give out Saint Quartz, but maybe just make reasons. There are things that happen in JP that we will never see. Take the arcade release, for example. We're never going to see that. Public events, we're not going to see that here either. America's just way too big, and unless it's at a convention, we're not going to see these things. Your company really needs to come up with other reasons to reward the players. Maybe when you hit milestones on Twitter followers, maybe toss us some stuff. I know that you did this for JP. Granted, it was 300 and 400K, but you really don't promote your Twitter at all in North America. If I knew that when we hit 100,000 that we would get some stuff, I would help promote that for sure. If your marketing team thinks that giving out a few free spins here and there for no reason will devalue your quartz, then honestly, they should really be fired. If you want people to buy quartz, they need to be invested in your game. Sure, you give us stuff over the weeks, master missions and daily logins, and sure, you can scrape and save forever to get potentially get that one waifu that you have been waiting for. But the more you get people rolling, the more they will potentially buy quartz because they're more invested in your game. If I save for months upon months and I finally have a hefty amount of quartz and tickets and fail to get my target, I'm not invested in your game and I am much more apt to just quit. Once I quit, I will tell my friends how dissatisfied I am with my experience, and now you've potentially lost multiple customers. You state that you need a reason for Japan to justify giving out quartz because there's a price tag associated with it. I think that this is a bad way of looking at it, honestly. It costs absolutely nothing to give out quartz. If anything, it's a net benefit because someone who just got 15 Saint quartz is likely going to buy more to do a 10 spin. Also, with Fate Grand Order's abysmal rate ups, what's 15 Saint quartz in the grand scheme of things other than a few mana prisms, let's be real. If you can't give out more Saint quartz, you could always provide us with apples. These are things that can't be purchased and you would lose absolutely nothing monetarily, yet this would provide fantastic PR. If people can play your game longer, the more invested they become in your game. With my last video, it was tossed around by some whales that, well, whales are the ones who keep this game alive and should be the ones that are listened to, and we think it's fine. Well, that's wrong and they're wrong. Any whale that thinks that is dumb and knows nothing about real business. I would much rather sell $5 packs of quartz to 100 people than one $500 pack of quartz to one person and possibly lose the rest of those customers. If you treat free-to-play players well, they will be your absolute best vehicle of promotion because little Timmy might not spend any money on your game, but he is super excited because it's semi-easy to get the waifus that he wants. So Timmy tells 5 of his friends, and maybe out of those 5, 3 of those are dolphins. Now you have 5 people that are hyped about your games, and the dolphin even more so, which brings in even more people. One whale flexing on Facebook is not going to bring anyone into the game. If anything, it has the potential to deter people from playing, as they'll think, damn, I don't want to have to spend thousands of dollars to get what I want. It's all about the optics and keeping the casual player happy when it comes to waifu rolling. Whales are going to whale regardless. I whale in Azure Lane where you absolutely don't have to. One of the really big gripes among free-to-play players as well as new players is the fact that a lot of the Saint Quartz and the rewards that are touted that NA has received was all front-loaded with it tapering off over time. The Start Dash campaigns are pretty nice, but that doesn't help masters that are not new. Maybe they've been playing for 3 months. Maybe they've been playing for 6. These are the people that you need to target. The people who have been playing since day one, yeah, sure, maybe they have more than other servers, but if you are trying to attract new players to your game, you need to entice them with more and get them hooked. At the same time, you need to keep your vets and older players happy as well, and I think this is where the apples mentioned before come into play. The more they can play, and the more that they can farm, the better they are, and the more invested they are in your game. But enough of that. One of the big things that struck me was the fact that Albert said that they read complaints and concerns via social media all the time, but can't respond. I cannot express how much a social media presence impacts your company, for both the better and the worst. If you look like a bot that's just posting something and then ignoring everyone's responses, well, this is going to hurt you a lot. Albert and the Aniplex team, if you are really listening to this like you say that you do, then let me work with you to help in this field. You need to have someone that can work with your followers on Twitter and Facebook, which that also brings up the streaming that was mentioned in the panel and actually has been brought up around me every so often. The live streams that have come out for NA have been abysmal, and I'm not talking about the Aniplex chill streams. Those were actually pretty good, honestly. Why not do your own version of This Month in Chaldea? Tease a few things that might be coming through the month, and then take some time to answer some questions, talk about your favorite waifus, favorite moments in the previous events. If you do not present yourself as someone who actually plays the game, hashtag insert be elegant joke here, you're going to lose face with the community. Albert, I know that not all of this is your fault, but sadly, you're currently the face of NA. So my apologies for the backlash on you, but use it as fuel to go back to Japan and request more leeway on what you can and can't talk about. Again, I've reached my hand out multiple times to help you with this. and I've just been met with radio silence. You indicate that you yell at the JP overlords and tell them to stop treating us like second-class citizens, and I cannot back you enough on that. The vast majority of people that I talk with absolutely feel like NA is an afterthought that was pushed as a cash grab and forgotten in favor of pumping out as much merch as possible into the NA market. When people bring up the whole, well, JP didn't have this for X years, so you have to suffer. Sure, people also didn't have indoor plumbing for a long time, but I don't see you pooping in the woods, do I? Just because JP suffered through a lack of quality of life and bad rates doesn't mean that we should also have to suffer through that. If you tout that, you're the same as the old, back in my day we had to walk uphill both ways in the snow with no shoes. Pack it in, Grandpa, and before you say, well, just play JP. No thanks. If I wanted to play JP, I would, but I like being able to read my game. Which, localization team, the subtitles on the menus now, fantastic. Thank you so much for that. The dropping of the Facebook and Twitter campaigns was both a good and a bad thing. I think that giving us a static amount for everything and then making the campaigns just a little bit extra would be a great start, or upping things and giving us very good stretch goals. The problem with that is, though, it becomes the new norm and the bar gets set at a different spot. This would be a good way, though, to promote extra things. Having a stream, promote it ahead of time. Get your community involved. Maybe take some questions from the retweets to answer on stream, and those people get 10 St. Quartz in game or something along those lines. Really, you need to nurture the community that you have via social media, because right now it's a plant without water. Communication is key, and I know that Albert mentioned that he wasn't sure how Azure Lane picked up as fast as it did and with as much success so far as it has had. And that's because they work with the streamers, content creators. They also have an active social media, and their devs actually talk to and listen to the community. Communication is key here for any game, and to be honest, you guys are failing at it and pretty hard at that. It might not be your fault, but Delightworks needs to break out of the JP mindset. Japan is a completely different world, full of different people with a different culture. In the States, if you're not keeping the casuals happy, you're gonna lose your game because they have a million other choices. At the end of the day, it really does come down to treating your customers as a person and not a paycheck. Sure, some people will comment with, free-to-play players just don't pay and shouldn't count because I spend a bunch of money and that makes me better than them. Wrong. They invest just as much time into this game as you do, and likely they are a much better megaphone for bringing people into this game. To put it in perspective, I've spent almost $10,000 on this game, and there are days that I'm just so fed up with the silence, the indifference, and the state of NA, to the point that I would much rather farm boat girls or gun girls or food girls or magical girls or any other number of waifus that don't require me to spend thousands of dollars to feel like I'm getting somewhere. This is not to say that there are not good aspects, but the saying goes, build 1,000 bridges, but get caught with genetically modified cat girl lose once. You're not a bridge builder, you're a degenerate. I will give props where they are due, absolutely. I will help where I can, but you guys really need to reach out to your community. Silence is never a good PR model. I will be at Anime NYC, and I will have my questions and concerns ready. Albert, I would love to sit down with you and have some one-on-one time, whether it's an interview or just me and you talking. I really want to help because I love this game, I love this franchise, and I absolutely love this community. If you need to, please get pre-approval to discuss some of the topics in this video with me. But I think that reaching out and using my platform to help get out there to the community would be fantastic for both of us. Show me your side, and then I'll bring my concerns to you. For those of you who do want your voices heard, comment down below and I will be picking out some questions to try to get answered. For those of you who want to twist my words to your own agenda, please don't. And for those of you who want to dismiss my opinion as an entitled North American crybaby cuck, how much time, energy, and money have you devoted to this franchise? Just throwing that out there. Anyways, Masters, let me know what you think down in the comments, and we'll catch you next time. Take it easy. Peace.